and singles here, and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. Now, I've mentioned in the past how important it is to be nice to your tellers. By being nice to your tellers, good things will happen. If they run across cool stuff, they're going to let you know. If you develop a good enough rapport with the tellers, you'll end up like me, where when the tellers get a bunch of singles in, they will call you. And that is part of this week's story. Of course, every week or so, I get a phone call from the tellers saying, hey, we've got this many or we got that many. But here is the extent that they go to for me. It's not about them getting 1,000 notes and telling me about it. It's what they actually do behind the scenes that they've done for a while, and I only recently found out. What am I talking about? See these little yellow lines? Every single one of these bands, they marked with a highlighter. Because when someone brings in a bunch of old notes, they will take a highlighter and mark those notes to reserve them for me. That way, when a bunch of notes come in, they know not to give these out to anybody else, and they know that the notes that I'm getting were the ones that they specifically set aside for me from a particular customer, or whatever the case is. Somebody dropping off 500 notes, they're going to mark those for me. Somebody drops off 1,000, they'll mark them that way. So yeah, I never knew the extent that my tellers were looking out for me that way. I just assumed whenever they get a pile of notes, they will call me and say, come and get them. But no, they quite literally mark the straps to make sure that I'm getting notes from that were turned in, rather than just getting random notes from the Federal Reserve or random notes that I may have turned in at one point or another. So yeah, you want to talk about being appreciative. I really appreciate that, because I know that when somebody turns in a bunch of singles, there's probably some good stuff in there. And that's why this particular bank is always good to me on my searches. And that's why I'm good to the tellers, because they're gonna return that favor to me and be good to me by doing stuff like this. All right, so that's what I've got for you this week. Let's take a look and see what I've found. Found a stack. All right, starting off with some artwork. Somebody was bored. They gave George a full color look. Yeah, that's just marker. But I mean, at a glance, that looks pretty good. It's pretty impressive. So somebody did spend a little bit of time, and actually, they probably didn't. They probably didn't really spend a whole lot of time. That's how quickly it would take to make our money look really cool. Anyway, George Washington colorized. Not a keeper for me, but a cool find, and I wanted to make sure to show that. This is a Where's George. That's all you got to do is write Where's George on a note, and it's good to go. You don't need a fancy stamp or anything else. You just have to hope somebody sees the writing on it like that. I did spot it, so I will be logging this note as soon as I'm done with this video. So let me get that one out. And here is a Where's George that's stamped the way that I'm used to seeing. Track this bill at where'sgeorge.com, so I will log both of these notes in after my video is done. Found some trinaries. Check this. Well, this one isn't trinaries. This is, well, it's a trinary and it's 4 pairs. 1, 1, 4, 4, 6, 6, 1, 1. So yeah, a pair of 1s, a pair of 4s, a pair of 6s, and yep, another pair of 1s. Still 1s, 4s, and 6s on the trinary, and still quad pairs on the note itself. This, I just want to make sure that that's not, yeah, that's not a gutter fold. I'm looking, I can see the fold in the paper, and that's what a gutter fold would look like prior to the inking. But if you were able to pull it apart, and if all of that gutter on the inside was blank, that would be a gutter fold error. This is just a fold, a crease in the note, and definitely not worth anything. But a trinary nonetheless, 0s, 4s, and 9s on this particular one. This one, another trinary, 2s, 4s, and 8s. 0s, 6s, and 8s on this one. A little bit of writing, so probably going to go away. Quad 4s with a 5th, so that's neat. Quad 5s. Quad 0s at the end, trailing 0s, 1945, 0000. People will ask me, would you consider that a birthday note at 1945? No, I wouldn't. However, this particular note, I would, because you have 1945 and all zeros. So that makes it look kind of cool. I'm keeping it because it's the quad zeros, not because it's 1945. If that was my birth year, I don't know that I'd be keeping it because of that, but I would find it neat. I know I probably wouldn't go out and spend anything extra on it, but yeah, I guess you could say that that's a birth year because of the trailing zeros. Now, if it has random numbers here, then no, I'm not even considering it. But because if you're ever looking for something like that, 4 zeros at the end would make it that much better. And this one has 5 2s. And what do we got here? Some stars, 2017. Always checking your stars, making sure they're not solid. Making sure they aren't filled. 2017 here as well. Not filled. 2017. Another star note here. 2013 star note. 2013 as well. Another 2013. So I'm getting my fair share of star notes. Some people are saying they're drying up a little bit. I've run across a few of them lately, so I can't say that I'm experiencing the same. This is a 2009 star note. And we get to some older notes. This one's a 2006. Normally I don't save them, but this one is in fairly good shape, so I'm just going to compare it to my book, see how it stands up. If it's not an improvement, it'll go back in circulation. 2001, these I start keeping. Another 2001. Another 2001. 1999, pretty rough. 1995, checking to see if it's a web note. Nope, not a web note. 1993, also not a web note. And the oldest note in the group, a 1988A, also not a web note. Kind of rough shape on that one as well. So, what did I pull out this week? Well, this week from my collection, I got something new. And I got it from Shibby Rob. Shibby Rob's auction. Shibby Rob has an auction every weekend. You should check out his channel. I'm going to put a link down in it below. He does coin roll hunts during the week. He does an auction every Sunday. I like the fact that he does a preview for the auction so I can get an idea what might or might not be there. And you'll catch me bidding on stuff. I've already gotten a couple things from him. The fact that I'm buying stuff from him lets you know that he's got quality stuff. Now, his auctions every week, he's got 25 different items. And he usually includes 2 or 3 pieces of currency as well. So most of the items are going to be coins, whether they're gold, whether they're silver. Sometimes he's got stuff that's slabbed. I don't know coins, so I don't follow that, but I do know that he will periodically put currency in there. Well, I shouldn't say that. Every week he usually has currency in there, and sometimes I find cool stuff, like this one. This is a 1928F $5 legal tender. Now, it's not perfect. It's not in the greatest of shape. You can see it has been circulated, and that's fine because 1928 you don't see a whole lot of anyway. I like the $5 red seal. The $5 red seal is a legal tender, otherwise known as a United States note. Now, these weren't backed by silver, weren't backed by gold. What they were backed by was a law. They made a law stating X amount of money can be printed, and they will back it by bonds and stuff like that. But that is the legal part of a legal tender. They made a law stating that they were allowed to print so much. Those were given the red seals like that. And it is a very familiar note to a lot of people. With the exception of the red seal, it looks exactly like a Federal Reserve note. But this one is special because this one is a star note. And it's hard enough to find notes from 1928. And it's the 1928 F series on top of that, which means they came out with the 1928 series, which everybody, I'm sure, started putting away thinking, oh, these are going to be worth something. And then they did the 1928A, and then B, and then C. You tell me when you start getting bored with this. And D, E. Yeah, so by the time you roll around to F, people probably weren't saving as many as you would think. Most of the 1928s, well, I don't want to say most, but most of the notes that are saved were probably the 1928s. And as you get further into the series, there are probably less and less of them that are surviving. I did a little homework, and it turns out that for this particular star note, the 1928F Red Seal star note, they printed just over 1.2 million of these. That was almost 100 years ago. So how many do you think are left? Not very many in my assumption. So to find a Red Seal star note, yeah, this was pretty cool. Let's take a quick peek at the book and see what the book has to say about it. Let's see. Take this out here. And you can see $5 notes, and if we just go down the list, 28, A, B, C, D, E, F, there's F on the bottom, the very bottom line, 1530 star, 1928 F, signatures of Clark and Snyder. And just to show you the top there, the first column is VG 8, then you've got 12, 20, 40, 60, and so on down the line. So the bottom column, even in VG8, you're talking $65. 12 puts it at $95. 20 is about average. That's about what this one is. That's about $120. And if you happen to have one that's gem perfect, you're talking $750. That is what the book has to say. But I'm not done with it because there's another book. I also have small size U.S. paper money, 1928 to date. And I looked up this particular book as well to see what was going on. This one is not in color, so use your imagination. 1928F Red Seal, and it says nothing. No, I should just turn the page. And if I turn the page, they had a wide margin and a narrow margin and a wide 2 margin. So there were different margin sizes, and as far as trying to decipher exactly what they were talking, I'm not even 100% sure. However, they were kind enough to put the serial numbers of each one. And you can see that the wide margin starts with star 08396-104, okay, and ends with 096, and so on down the line. So there, that gives you the print run size, which the total print run was 104 million. But there are only roughly 1.2 million numbers designated for the star. Now, if we go down a little further here, you can see that the highest number, let's see, that is 096, this is 096, and this is 096 as well. So it was easy enough for me to figure out the lowest number for a star and the highest number for the star, and I just subtracted it. That gave me the 1.2 million. And then when I was looking here, mine falls in here. I will show that one real quick. Mine is 00911, so that's easy enough to compare, and you can see that's in this range here. 0911 does not fall in here, so mine is this note, which you can see in this older book. It says $100 and very fine, $600 for choice. However, if you did have that narrow margin, that's the print run for those, you can add another 0 to that. $1,000 there. Choice is $5,000, and gem choice uncirculated is $10,000 on that particular note. Even this one, they listed gem choice uncirculated at $1,100. So that's pretty impressive. And of course, the last ones down here, you can see the prices of those as well. Check that out. Very fine. And for that star, $3,500. Unfortunately, mine is just the common one. Like I said, this listed at 100, but this book is also from 2006. So that is all the neat stuff I have on this particular star, the $5 legal tender star note from 1928F. If you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. I love reading all your comments. Tune into Shibby Robs auction, and if you see me there, say hi. If not, tell Shibby I sent you. I'll leave a link down below. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.